Good morning and welcome to the City of South Fulton's virtual press conference this morning. My name is Tony Phillips. I'm the Director of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs for the City of South Fulton. We are here today in District 3 of the city at the South Fulton Tennis Center for the start of a really exciting project, both for the City of South Fulton and area-wide. We're fortunate to have with us this morning the District 3 Councilwoman, Helen Willis, as well as our Honorable Mayor William Bill Edwards. Councilwoman Willis.
Thank you, Director Tony Phillips. First of all, I want to thank you for your leadership and everything that you do for our Park and Rec division. And we now have cultural arts and fairs on board, and I know that you will be doing amazing things. And thank you for your staff for their diligent work and countless hours they put in parks and recreation. This is an exciting time for the City of South Fulton. We have a huge tennis community, not only in District 3, but in the entire city. And I would even say in Metro Atlanta. That was highlighted last summer when we had a visit from Venus Williams, who came in and played with our tennis camp, youth tennis camp. And it was an exciting time for our community. I am going to talk a little bit about what the council did as a whole. The council created a URA, Urban Redevelopment Authority, and in this URA, it allows for us to allocate monies to projects such as this. The tennis center has about over $500,000 in funding, and we are working as a city to rebuild, not patch up, but rebuild 24 tennis courts. And as a result of that, our tennis center will be on the horizon as being one of the newest tennis centers in Metro Atlanta and in the region. Now, I would like to ask that our tennis community be patient with us, because this will be a short inconvenience for our tennis community, but it will have a huge benefit in the end. We will have 24 brand new tennis courts. We will be in play to host tennis tournaments in the region, and we will also be able to have other events at this tennis center, and we will have a new tennis center that our huge tennis community will be able to safely play on. So we ask that you be patient, because the work has to be done now while the weather is warmer. And so as a result, tennis availability for this center may be down for a couple of months, but we can assure you by November, we will be back up and running, and you will be proud of our new facility. At this time, I would like to turn over the press conference to our Honorable Mayor, William Bill Edwards. And I would like to say thank you to our mayor and his leadership, because when he was a Fulton County Commissioner, he was the one who had the vision and the foresight to bring this tennis center online for the region. When we became a city, we of course took it over, and it's a city facility now. But prior to it becoming a city facility, when he served as commissioner, the South Fulton Tennis Center is known as one of the jewels of this region. And we have to give credit to our former commissioner, Bill Edwards, now Honorable Mayor. Mayor Edwards, we would like to turn this over to you.
Well, thank you so much, Councilwoman Willis. I don't know about you guys, but I am truly excited about this first milestone in the area of parks and recreation. Mr. Phillips, you and your staff have done an outstanding job and continue to do so to make our parks and recreation the #1 parks and recreation in the region. So, young man, I really appreciate you for all that you are doing. What can you say about Helen Willis? Helen Willis has continued to make sure that the people in District 3 have the quality of life that they certainly deserve. And she has been just a leading force in making sure that gets done. She's one of the hardest working council people that we have. And Councilwoman Willis, I always appreciate all the endeavors that you're getting. One of the things that I want to make an impact and say today is this. Even in light of the pandemic of COVID-19, your city continues to work. We are out here. We're not holding off projects. Projects are being done, like this tenant center, and we want you to know that we are committed to carrying out the mission of this city, and that takes a lot of people. That takes not only staff from Parks and Rec, but staff from the city manager's office, staff around City Hall, who continues to work, whether they be in their offices or at home, to make sure that we bring forth the best quality of life that we have. Listen, this tenant center, let me tell you, I can only tell you, Tony, you know, and so do you, Councilwoman Willis, it was a mess. And to see the transition from where it was when I first came to where I got it before I left, and to what you and Councilwoman Willis and the Parks and Recreation are doing now, it's an exciting time for Parks and Recreation, especially in the area of tennis. The Councilwoman talked to you about the URA, and she explained it very well. We're continuing not just with the tennis center, but we're continuing to expand our Parks and Recreation programs throughout our city. And it's just overwhelming to know the kind of progress we're making. So I won't talk long. Hats off to everybody, truly everybody. And thank you, Councilwoman Willis, for carrying, I won't call me a legacy because it make me feel like I'm old, but carrying on what we started some time ago and making sure that it goes to fruition. So my hat's off to you. My hat's off to this city, who in spite of everything is still working hard.
Those of you who are joining us today, just very briefly, I'm going to give you a little background on the facility and the construction process. If you're not familiar with the Zoom platform, as we end this portion of the press conference, you can go to the chat room to submit questions, or there's a raise your hand feature. Please feel free to use those in just a moment. The South Fulton Tennis Center was constructed in the late 70s initially, and so it's been here for quite a number of years. It's gone through a number of iterations and changes during that time. It is a 24-court facility. There are 20 hard courts and 4 clay courts. There is a process where you can resurface tennis courts, which is basically a light resurfacing and a repair. That was done here a number of years ago. What's distinct about this effort is it is a complete and total rebuild of the courts. That means that when this project concludes, these courts will not be the existing courts, but brand new courts that will be in place for both the 20 hard courts, which includes 2 youth courts as well as the 4 clay courts. And so this is an exciting time for us. It will be a phased project. They're starting today with the deconstruction phase. They'll be doing that for the next couple of weeks, prepping the surface for the actual construction of the courts, which we estimate will take approximately 4 months, weather permitting. And so we are excited that we're getting underway, that when this completes, there'll be 24 brand new tennis courts. It is the largest tennis facility in the Southern Crescent. It's near the world's busiest airport. We think there's a lot of potential here for this facility to have an area-wide impact. We've got conversations going on with the USTA to figure out how we make the most of this opportunity, and of course for the citizens of the city of South Fulton. Lastly, I want to thank our leadership in this city, our mayor, Councilwoman Willis, our entire city council, our city manager, Odie Donald II. All of them have really led the process of making this a reality. I also want to thank the tremendous folks that I work with. I have incredible staff in Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs, and none of this would be possible without them. So with that being said, we want to open it up now for any questions that you may have. Again, you can use the chat room feature or raise your hand, and we'll try to field those questions as they come in. Okay, so it looks like we have come to the conclusion. Thank you again for joining us this morning. We will provide updates throughout the next 4 months as we're going through this process to let you know how it is progressing and to provide updates and information. And then, of course, when this project is complete, there'll be an opportunity for everyone to enjoy this facility and the new 24 courts that will be here. Thank you for joining us this morning, and have a nice day, and stay healthy. We do have one question. Yes, media can shoot B-roll today. They will be on site for most of the afternoon until about 4 p.m. Doing some of that preliminary work. They will also be here for the rest of the week during business hours, essentially 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. each day. And so that B-roll footage opportunity is available both this afternoon and for the balance of the week through Friday. Yes, we're working closely with our communications department. And by the way, let me thank them for all they've done to make this happen this morning. But yes, we'll regularly post updates on all of the city's media platforms. There are city manager newsletters. Our elected officials have newsletters that go out, as well as our social media, Facebook, Instagram, and our website.
All right, well, thank you. Remember to adhere to the social distancing. Oh, wait, the other questions, they're coming in now.
More questions?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
I just want to add one word to this, and that word is to the community. This is your tennis center. It belongs to you. You paid for it. Treat it with the utmost respect as if it was in your backyard. So I want to put that out there, because once we do things, we spend a lot of money for things. And I want the community to understand that they need to help us make sure that we maintain the quality of our facilities as we move in the future. So community, it's yours. Take care of it.
Most definitely. We look forward to major tournaments and other opportunities here. There are already a couple of tournaments that we had some preliminary discussions with based on the timing of the completion of the reconstruction, but clearly we are looking for major tournaments, exhibitions, things of that nature. Councilwoman Willis referenced that we were fortunate to have Venus Williams come through at the conclusion of the BB&T tournament last year. We're hopeful that business like that can occur again this year. Except this time they'll be on 24 brand reports. And so tournaments will definitely be a part of the mix. I mentioned earlier that we do have a dialogue going on with USTA. We're hopeful that that will also provide some additional opportunities, but we expect this facility to really go to the next level after the city makes what is really a really large investment. It's over $500,000. It's been overdue for years. We have a really loyal tennis community that has been at this facility for years. And it just pleases me that we're finally able, through the city's leadership, to deliver this much needed upgrade and improvement to these tennis courts. And I'm sure that everyone is going to enjoy the benefits. So tournaments will definitely be a part.
And one of the things Director Phillips mentioned earlier is that our close proximity to the airport. That is one of the reasons we will attract tennis tournaments and also high-profile visits. We are perfectly positioned within 3 minutes from the airport. And so we mentioned the Venus Williams visit last year. One of the reasons she did come by our tennis court because it was on her way to fly out of Hartsville, Atlanta. And so she was able to come spend about 30 to 45 minutes here with the students, youth tennis players, and then head straight to the airport. So this is one of the jewels in the Southern Crescent.
We expect it to have a regional impact.
Right.
We do these projects for the citizens that we serve in the city of South Fulton first and foremost, but we understand that this is a destination facility, and we know, believe, and expect that it will have an area-wide impact, not only in the tennis community, but across the area as well. So we definitely want these to be USTA certified courts. After making an investment of this size, we want to make sure that we have checked all of those boxes so that we can host tournaments and do whatever it is that the opportunities present to us. And so we started a dialogue with the USTA already. We'll be furthering that conversation over the coming months as this project moves forward. We certainly want them to be USTA certified courts, and we expect that to happen at the conclusion of the process. In terms of tourism, I would defer to our economic development director who's not with us today, but in my prior conversations with him, that is clearly a part of what we expect to generate from this investment, is that having the ability to host tournaments. Councilwoman Willis talked about our proximity to Hartsfield-Jackson, that we expect that it will draw tournaments where there will be area-wide participants, out-of-state participants, and that leads, of course, to tourism dollars, and that in the long run will benefit the economic development of the city. So that's what I meant by a wider impact in the area. We clearly expect there to be tourism and economic impact that comes out of this investment in this one-of-a-kind facility. And to the best of my knowledge, these will be the 24 newest courts in the entire metropolitan Atlanta area.
In our sister city, they have about 6 tennis courts, and it was mentioned that those tennis courts generated over $8 billion in revenue. And so that's with 6 tennis courts. This tennis court will have 24 courts on it, and we highly project that while we don't have the exact number, but once bringing in tournaments and hosting in tournaments, we project that we will generate in the millions of revenue. This will be a great addition to Destination South.
Yes, and so we want to make sure that we're able to reach and connect to all groups within our community. And so yes, we have adaptive accommodations here now. There is a healthy senior participation currently in the facility, and we expect that only to grow as we get to the conclusion of this rebuild of the tennis courts. And so all of those target groups, from youth to seniors to adaptive populations, are all important to us. And so we want to do everything we can to make sure that we provide opportunities across that spectrum. So the answer to that question is a definite yes. So the deconstruction phase, and I will defer to our contractor to maybe talk in specifics about this, essentially means that they'll be prepping the area for the construction of the new courts. It's everything from removing all of the tennis amenities, the nets, the windscreens, all of the things that you typically see at a 24-court facility. There's quite a bit of that to be done. All of that has to be done. The poles have to come up. All of the fencing, there's a large amount of fencing has to come down. All that has to be removed. And once all that deconstruction initial phase is completed, then they'll start prepping the actual court surfaces to begin the construction phase. And so it's kind of phase 1, phase 2. You have to kind of clear the area, make sure that it's prepped for construction. And that's what this initial deconstruction phase does. Kind of make sure that all of the things that need to be removed to allow them full access to these 24 courts are out of the way. We expect that to happen over the next couple of weeks. And then that'll put us in a position where they can move forward with the actual construction process of building the new courts.
And Director, I would like to, if you don't mind mentioning, while we said that this is going to be a 4-month project, of course, you have to take into consideration of inclement weather.
Yes.
You know, we are going to approach hurricane season and tropical storm season. And so while we are in a prime position to and we have warmer weather, we still will have to take rain into consideration. And so that will play into, that will impact the project at some point as well. And so it's safe to say that's why I gave the time frame for November to factor in a little bit more time for that season.
And that's a smart thing to do, Councilwoman Willis. All construction projects, most people know, are weather permitting. This first few months of the year has had an unusual amount of rain, so whether that continues or not, we'll see. I also wanted to mention that the city continues to make progress, as the mayor mentioned earlier, but we're doing so while still being cognizant of our social distancing guidelines, maintaining all of our health protocols so that we don't put any of our team or any of our contractors that partner with us at risk for violating those social distancing guidelines. And so just wanted to make sure that that was clear to everybody, that the 10 people or less mandate that the governor and the city have put in place is being strictly adhered to, as well as all of the other social media and public health practices. And so we found a way to still be able to make progress while adhering to all of those guidelines to keep all of us safe and hopefully healthy.
I have one question. I know we have a huge tennis camp
Yes.
in the summer for our youth, and being that we are on the horizon of this major project, will that impact our tennis program, summer tennis program?
There will be some impact. That's a very good question, Councilwoman Willis. We're fortunate that we do have some other tennis courts available in the city that we can utilize on a temporary basis. One of those being the Burnett Tennis Center. It's not nearly as large as this one, but it does provide the ability for us to continue programming to make sure that we can provide tennis programming over the summer. It will be slightly different because it's not as large of a facility, but we certainly look forward to being able to offer something this summer. Thank you for joining us this morning. Councilwoman Willis, the Honorable William Bill Edwards, our mayor. We certainly thank you for joining with us, and we look forward to providing updates as this process moves forward.
Thank you. Have a great day. Remember to adhere to the social distancing and the shelter-in-place guidelines. They're in place for your safety. May God bless you, your family, and the city of South Fulton.
Thank you. Please feel free to contact us with any additional questions.